get on to the fun part here. So, okay. Did you do that, Serge? We're going to record the session.
Yep.
We are going to record the session. So if you, actually, we recommend that you turn your video off regardless of the recording or not. But for bandwidth issues, we recommend you turn your video off and your audio. We've had a few issues over the last couple of days. We will give you a chance to ask questions when at periodic points in the presentation. So feel free to make notes and we'll catch it that way.
Brian, I'm leaving. That means if you want to admit someone, you will have to do it.
Oh, yes, right. Okay. Yes, I will try to do that. Thank you.
The bandwidth is going to go way up all of a sudden.
Okay, so I can speak slower then.
Yeah, well, we got rid of the French guy, so.
Yeah.
Okay. And does this mean you're going to take off from the moon and come back now then?
And
anyways,
David, if
so
you want,
get going here.
David, if you want to help,
I'm your
Sorry.
MC for today.
Brian, just a
We'll do
moment.
some introductions shortly.
Brian, just a request. I got a phone call right now from Keith Newell. Can you send him a link, please, to this meeting? He didn't receive one. Is that possible?
Okay.
If possible.
Hang on a sec here. Anthony, are you out there? Can you do that for us with Keith? Can you let me know if you can do that?
Yeah, for sure. I'll just forward it to him.
Okay. We'll keep going slowly while Keith is joining us here. Thank you, Anthony. So again, I'm Brian Thompson. I'll be your MC for today. We'll do introductions in a slide or two. In the meantime, though, I wanted to welcome everybody to the first session of the Event Leaders Program for Starters Assistants and Call Rooms. We'll talk a bit about in a minute here of why the two groups are together, but this is the first session. We do want to keep it short because everybody wants to do more things on a nice summer day. 45 minutes, hopefully, and we're going to cover introductions, who the event leaders are. We'll give a short overview of the Event Leaders Program. You may or may not have heard of the program, so we'll give everybody a chance to get caught up on that. Then we have some short topics, presentations with some questions on starters assistance and call room topics. Those are splitting the disciplines and an update on the workshops and clinics that a few of our esteemed leaders have been working on. And then we'll wrap up with some next steps. So for today, as I mentioned, we're combining two of the event groups, the starters assistants and the call room. It'll become clearer why we're doing this when we talk about the splitting of the disciplines. Going forward, this isn't a permanent coming together. This could result in more joint ones over time or complete separation. We'll see how it goes, but for now we're starting off with both groups together. And Jennifer will talk a bit more about that in a second here. So I'll give the call room group a chance to introduce themselves. Jennifer and Keith, if you want to say just a quick word on yourselves.
Hi, it's Jennifer Campbell. I'm still here and I've been working very hard on all these new call room documents with Jackie Downing. We'll go into later, but welcome and thank you for coming to our meeting tonight. Keith?
Has Keith shown up yet?
I don't think so.
Okay, well, we'll give Keith a chance to say his introductions and when he gets in. Then we'll go to starters assistants. Ian, do you want, or Jennifer, do you want to, whichever your name you want to go by? Jennifer Fisher or Ian Fisher? Do you want to, that's you.
You're talking, yes. Okay, let you know a bit about me. It's nice to see so many familiar faces. Worked with quite a few of you over the last few years. I've been involved in track since 1961 as a little kid, as a runner. And my family got all involved quite a bit. My dad ultimately became a starter at the 76 games in Montreal. So when I wasn't running as a kid, I was helping, handing out popsicle sticks. holding the little wool line across the finish line for Harry Jerome to burst through. Hopefully it didn't rub his catch him on the throat and burn him like it used to do if you had the wrong ply of wool. Anyway, so I've done a lot of that. It took me 26 years to become a level 4, because at that time I wasn't terribly interested in moving up in the ranks, of just having fun doing what I was doing. After that, I was a starter for 10 years. And to be honest, I didn't really enjoy it because I was removed from the rest of the athletes. Didn't get to know their names. So I lost a whole generation of kids. Ultimately, I worked with Keith at the Commonwealth Games in '94. In 2001 with Jackie Downing, Elaine Lake, Keith and I at the start line at the World Championships. And over the years, I think I've committed every mistake imaginable in the book. I don't think I've done it more than once, though. And one thing I think I'm proud of, I don't think I've ever given an athlete an advantage over another one. And kind of the opposite to that, I will always do what's possible to reduce a disadvantage an athlete may have. So keep having fun. That's me. Thank you.
All right, then we can go backwards in time, or not time, backwards. And Keith Newell has joined us, I believe. So Keith, just want to say a quick hello as part of the call room team with Jennifer.
Try that again. I didn't have my audio going.
Okay, well, there's Keith. Keith's BC official. You're SA 5 and everything else 5. You've been around quite a while.
Are you talking about me because I didn't have my headphone plugged in?
And he's going deaf. That's why we're having these sessions, to leverage his knowledge before we lose his hearing. Yes.
Well, I'm feeling left out. I didn't have any link to the meeting. I did send you an email, but I guess you didn't get it anyway. What would you like to know? I missed all that.
Okay, well, we're just doing introductions. So if you want to do like 10-second introduction of who we are, because we're running behind here.
Well, okay, hello, that's me. I've worked with a few of you. Who's next?
Okay, and then lastly, I'm Brian Thompson. I'm from Victoria, BC. And I'll be, like I said, I'll be your MC. We've also got Anthony Thompson here, who's volunteered to capture attendance and any questions. So thank you, Anthony.
You're
So
welcome.
this is the Event Leaders Program. It's our first session, and we're lucky to have Dave Weicker with us today. Dave is one of the founders of this program, and he's going to give a 2 or 3 minute overview of what the program is, so we all understand why we're doing this and the benefits to us. So I'll turn this over to David.
Okay, thank you, Brian. So as Brian's so eloquently put on a slide, it's a national program, and it's intended to develop and grow disciplines. So there are various event groups, and we have leaders and assistant leaders in each of the groups, except one, which we will have an assistant leader in a short while. Initially, all level 3 to 5 officials will be invited to attend the groups in which they are level 3 and 3 to 5 officials in, and later others will be able to self-identify, and the event leader will have the decision as to whether or not to invite them in or not. So that's the overview of the program, if you will. And how it will operate is through circulating of information and new materials, updates, initiatives and best practices, and some training for or formal webinars or informal education sessions, whatever's necessary. And finally, group discussions on rule changes, application of rules, and best practices to follow within the discipline. And we had one last night for World Para Athletics interested people. essentially all NTOs. And in terms of training, what they were most interested in was refresher training. And a lot of that training is on the Athletics Canada website currently. At least the training that they were interested in is. Okay, thank you, Brian. Over to you.
Yeah, so if you have any questions on the program, you can either let us know or David, but essentially it's our group to do what we want with it. I think we were having a discussion beforehand of why we're doing that and why we're doing this. And there's a couple of reasons I think of. One is, as Keith mentioned, he couldn't hear at the start. We have a lot of older, very experienced starters assistants in our pool, and we need to leverage their knowledge before they retire. So one of the reasons is to start leveraging or continue leveraging that knowledge. Every time I'm at a meet with a group of starters assistants, the conversation always comes to call room events or start line events, and a huge excitement and discussion of what's going on. So I think there's a lot of fun and a reason for being around this community of like experiences. And then lastly is the professional development side, just little things that we can keep learning. So we'll talk more about this over the next little bit here, but it's our group, the topics we want to discuss. It's up to us when we want to meet, the format, the frequency. It's all ours. We can share information, share perspectives, maybe learn something even. And we make it fun. And starting with that, we'll get into some content here. Jennifer's going to give us two things to talk about here. The first is splitting disciplines, and the second is an update on the workshops, clinics she's been developing. So I'll pass it over to Jennifer and she can carry on from here.
Okay, thank you, Brian. All right. I think several months ago, NOC asked Jackie Downing and myself to take and do the Starters Assistant Clinic, revise it. We were getting into it, and as we were doing it, we discovered it was getting to be too massive in size. The PowerPoints, we were coming close to 200 slides. And if you follow the great wisdom that I learned from, I think, David, how to avoid death by PowerPoint, we have to be selective. So Jackie and I put together a proposal for NOC. They had a meeting and agreed to the split. SA will now, Starters Assistants will be the track. The call room will have call room judges. And the thing is that we're looking at is that Jackie and I have done 4 clinics. The 4 clinics were the Starters Assistants, we just revised it. But adding under the call room, we have call room judges clinic, which will be level 2 wanting to go to a level 3. Then we have the chief call room judge clinic, which is brand new. That will be done probably level 3 to level 4. You must understand the criteria and the process of this belongs to the scope of NOC. So we have put suggestions forward, Jackie and I, but NOC will be making the decision. Now, because of para, the Starters Assistants will be coming back into a loop with the call room judges on the para clinic, because basically out in the track for para, you are the final eyes on the pieces of equipment. So there are the 4 clinics. Each clinics will have 3 components. There will be a PowerPoint, there will be a manual, and the level 2s to level 3s will have a 20 question quiz to be done at their clinic. Those going from level 3 to level 4 will have scenario questions. Starters Assistants will have questions about Starters Assistants and some call room questions, because you will be coming back to be measuring the equipment, the racing chairs and the running frames. And the call room side will have questions on running in the call room questions, and they will have para questions. Okay, so that is the quick explanation of what has been happening. One of the things that we will probably do is once they're approved by NOC, that the clinics that were done by Jackie and myself, maybe we can have a PowerPoint on them so you can see the new material on these clinics that we have prepared for NOC. Okay, Brian, thank you.
So, Jennifer, did you want to also talk to the transition and what's coming up for the declaration for existing essays level 3, 4, 5?
Okay. One of the jobs, that's why Brian and I are together working on this for right now, is NOC needs to know from the current level 3, 4, and 5 officials who are starters assistants, what classification you would like to be under. For example, between Jackie Downing and myself, sorry about that, she just wants to be classified under starters assistants. I want to be classified under starters assistants. Call room, I want both decorations. We have to get this list done fairly quickly. I think our deadline is the September 1st because NOC wants to change the directory so it reflects starters assistants, those who want to be call room judge. So we have those areas stated in the rule in our NOC directory. So Brian and I will be sending something out to ask you to reply to us. And we're going to double check the list that we get to make sure we have everybody. Then we'll track you down if you haven't said your decision to find out what area you want to be listed in. All right, Brian?
Yeah, so we need to hear from everybody. You'll probably hear more information from Jennifer and I in the next little bit, but we do need to know what your decision is. Feel free to let us know what additional information you need to make this decision, but we do need to hear and have a decision before midsummer so we can get this all squared away.
Can I ask a question, please? It's Valerie.
Sure, go ahead.
Hi there. Hi, Jennifer. My question to you is my love is on the track starter assistant, but I did get some experience in the call room. If I'm maybe interested, do I put starter assistant and call room when I might not want to follow the call room path, but if it has an opportunity at another meet, because we don't really do very many call rooms in our province. So I'm just wondering, will more information come on that? I don't want to fill out the wrong information.
Can I help with that answer? I think that's one of the reasons why we want to show the 4 clinics that have been prepared by Jackie Downing and myself, so you can see what information and make a decision. Like all of us know basically the starters assistant, but I think it would be important for our group before we sort of separate between Brian's essays and my call room, is that we show you the call room judges clinic and the para call room clinic. And maybe that will help in a decision. We can get that done before the deadline of September 1st as a suggestion. So you can make an informed decision. You can see what is required in both areas.
But Jennifer, on that, would you, if you selected call room, you would never do starters assistant on the track or only the big meets, or is that still under discussion at this point?
At this point in time, the new direction will be you choose one or other. You can choose one or the other if you so desire, and that's a lot of people are far more comfortable on the track than they are in the call room, and there are officials who are very comfortable in the call room but do not like the track. But if someone wants to take the dual path, I'm going to call it pathway, they'll have to take both clinics and separate the time between being on the track and in the call room. So
I
it'll
have
be
a
two separate event disciplines now.
I have a question.
Sure, go ahead. I can't tell who it
Okay.
is, but go ahead.
It's Mandy.
Hey, Mandy.
Okay, hi. I was supposed to be evaluated to get my level 5 last summer, but you know what happened with COVID. I wanted to do both, and I studied in both and was ready to be evaluated in both. So what happens with me? Because like I'm a level 4 right now, but I'm just waiting on getting my level 5. I was just, because of COVID, I didn't get my evaluations last year, but I'm ready for both, and I've done both profusely. So
Yes, I think I worked with you in Quebec. I've met you.
yes.
I would suggest you write through your branch chair, ask that question, and have your branch chair forward that to NOC Chair Jane Edstrom. I think we might have some grandfathering clause because of COVID, but I can't officially say what NOC's decision is going to be about that. But I think you should be able, because you're so close to having
Well,
it done, I'm sure something can be worked out, but you'd have to go through the, the proper channels requesting that.
Well, that's what I was told when I did question it, and they told me because I was on the, I was supposed to be evaluated, that I would be in a grandfather clause, and I would do both at the same time. Like someone that's level 4 ready to be evaluated for level 5 wouldn't lose that status, and then I'd have both. That's what I was told. So I just have to go through my branch chair again.
I would
If I
make
could-
sure you
if I-
get that documented,
Okay.
and contact NOC Chair.
Okay.
Jennifer, I think if I could add, this is Keith. In our discussion, we talked about people who already had a level 3 or 4 or 5 status, that they would be granted at that level on both call room and the starter's assistant. So Mandy will be working on her 5 whenever her evaluation happens. But she is already, when this system begins, a level 4 call room.
And
Correct?
track. Also track.
And starter's assistant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
I'm sure there's a few in the pipeline across Canada who are started their evaluations to what was the previous arrangement. So probably need to figure that part out.
Yep. We have
Okay,
to
good
wait
question.
for NOC. Thank
Good
you.
question. Any other question? This is a big topic to everybody here. Any other questions on this while we're here?
Brian,
Yes.
it's Jane Edstrom here. This isn't a question, and I was only going to audit this event group. But just for clarification, I think Keith alluded to it a bit, but at the present moment, anybody who is a 3, 4, or 5 would be 3, 4, or 5 at both call room and starter's assistant. The people who are working their way up, like Mandy, would have to split and decide whether they're going from now on, are you going to go call room, or are you going starter's assistant, or are you going both? Now, Mandy is unique because she's working on her 5 right now. I'm not quite sure how many evaluations she has already. If she already had 1 and she just needs 1 more, that's easy. She does the 1 more, and she's got both call room and starter's assistant 5. But we won't take away anything that you already have. It's just moving forward. Do you want to be call room, or do you want to be starter's assistant, or both? And if you want to become both, then you have to do 2 different upgradings from now on.
Okay, so that means basically I'll have to get evaluated in the call room twice and on the track twice for my level 5.
Mandy,
Contrary to having, yeah,
as Jennifer mentioned, you're in the transition phase, and when people are going from 4 to 5, and especially this year where you probably already would have been completed with all this, but with 15 months of no competitions, you didn't have a chance. Write a letter to your branch chair, copying me, and something can be worked out.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Jane. Is there anybody other questions on this topic? Okay, well, those are the two essay call room topics we wanted to cover off in our first session. Going forward, the things we need to do is, one is collect feedback on the topics and the meeting format that works for everybody here. So what I suggest is send us your suggestions for the topics that you'd like to see covered. For example, if you want to know more about the shoe rule, number 5, send that to us and we'll add that as a potential topic. We'll get a list of potential topics from people. We'll send out a survey so that you can rank the topics that are most pressing for you over the next little bit here, and maybe add a couple of topics. And then we'll come up with a calendar or a list of sessions that we want, with topics we want to cover. We'll also include in the survey the meeting formats, whether we want to meet by Zoom, conference call, or a combination of both, and meet on weekends, weekdays. It's hard with all time zones across Canada, but we'll send out a survey to get your feedback on the topics you want to cover, you want to see, and meeting preferences. And then we'll also do this declaration for existing level 3, 4s, and 5s into starters assistants, call room, or both. And then, as Jennifer mentioned too, we'll show you, I'll give you a chance to view these workshops. And I know I'm interested to see what they look like, so hopefully you are too. So those are the things that will happen over the next very short while here, and we'll build momentum. Comments are always welcome. Let us know how this will work for you. That's all we had covered for today, though. If you have, I'll open it up for any questions you may have.
It's Val again, Val Gordon again. Just, I don't know if Jennifer can answer this or whatever. You said that you were just doing a call room book. Is that what you said, like the manual? Or was it all starter assistant and call room?
All 4 topics disciplines that I was talking about are all separate. They'll have a PowerPoint, they will have a manual, and there will be a quiz or scenario component, depending if you're a 2 going to a level 3 or 3 going to a level 4.
And by you saying 4, you mean the 2 pathways of starter assistant and the 2 pathways of call room. Those are the 4 different.
Yeah, there's,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
But understand with the starter's assistant, you do that is your first component, but then you will be in your 3 to a 4, there will be a para call room clinic that will be helping where essays help us on the track, because the final inspection, yes, they leave the call room in those in the racing chairs and the race running frames. But we all know that the racing chairs take 1 lap around, and if an essay sees an issue with the bike, they make a decision right on the track.
Okay, so I'm very excited about this, Jennifer, because I've worked with you and I know the stuff that you put together. So I'm so excited. So following up on that, it's just all about Val asking questions here.
Hey, that's fine.
Will these manuals, for lack of a better term, be available to every starter assistant or level 2, 3, 4? Like, how is it downloaded? How can we get this information into those up and comers that are
Okay.
interested?
Usually, if it's a new official, it'll be part of the clinician's responsibility to print off the manual. So you use the manual in connection with the PowerPoint. Once NOC has approved all the information on the 4 areas, I see no reason that officials, these manuals can be put into the NOC officials library, I'm going to say, where you can print them off from there. But we have to wait till that's all approved. But I can see that is a good idea to have a library where people can go and print off these information packages.
Yeah.
These
And
manuals.
maybe linked through the different provincials, because provincial organizations, because I know one thing, especially when I started to get to Saskatchewan and work with higher ranking officials, everyone's basics are the same, but there are some differences that at times cause little bits of communication issues on a track. And it would be nice to have, okay, here's how we do it across the country. And it's one place to go. Do you signal here? Do you point there? Do you stand here? Everyone's different. And again, talking way too much, I apologize. But I think the idea of having something that people can go, okay, it says here, this is what we do. I'm absolutely loving this idea. And I'm a kind of a newbie, like a level 4, but fairly tracked in officiating. And I would have loved this earlier on. So thank you very much to those involved. I am done.
You will find that Jackie and I did put a lot of links and websites into our manuals, and there are a lot of pictures and explanations in there. So it's just not text. There's lots of variety in there, and I think they'll be great, but we have to wait for NOC's approval. Okay.
Good suggestion there as well on the repository library. I like that. So keep the ideas coming, and we'll send out a survey to get more feedback as well. Any other questions? I scanned the chat, and thank you for that. All the comments in the chat.
I have one comment. I apologize to everybody for showing up late. Couldn't find the link, couldn't get the link. So again, my apologies.
You're forgiven, Keith. How about you, Ian? Any words of wisdom from you? Oh, Ian's still on mute. Okay.
Hey.
That's an oxymoron for Keith.
Sorry.
Words of wisdom.
Oh,
Sorry, Brian, I forgot to unmute. This isn't the first time that I've been involved with a national forum. I think it's a great opportunity for all the people at the start line, whether it's the starters or the starter assistants, because we are a real team, to share experiences, to ask questions and whatnot, just about your experiences happening on the track. If you go on, of course, the internet's an amazing place. You go on YouTube these days and you see all the crazy things happening in track meets around the world. They have to happen in the excited states, which I take great relish in looking at and seeing the mistakes they do and what goes on. But miscounting laps, having long steeplechases at the height, those are the grassroots things that we really need to pay attention to. So I hope that people would take advantage of this forum to discuss those kind of things. Thank you.
Lots of potential, lots of potential. All right, any other comments before we finish up? Like we mentioned here under next steps, stay tuned for a survey, the declaration, and opportunity to view workshops. We'll get going shortly, but any other questions? Chat looks pretty simple. Any other questions? Put your hands up. It's hard to see here. All right, a real-time update. Habs are ahead 3-0. At that point, we probably should close it now in case it gets worse. Thank you again, everybody.
bye-bye.
Good to see everybody. We'll see you again shortly.
Thank
Thanks for your
you.
time, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for setting this up. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks so much.
putting it in with her food, mixing it. She likes it. She likes it.
Louise, are you still there?
Yes, I am.
How
I'm
did your
multi-
how did your auction go?
It went very well. Yeah.
Are you totally done now?
Everything, no, is everything gone? No, one combine is left to pick up. I think everything else is now gone. So yeah, now the next step is we have to meet with the accountants next week after to start figuring out how we deal with everything.
What do you mean by that?
The tax consequences of winding everything all up. Like we
Oh.
have a year's worth of income and no deductions, and then we sold machinery, and yeah, getting out of farming is not a simple process.
Okay,
As well-
well, plant
as re-
a crop this year and let it go dead.
Oh yeah, and then we had one company that's gone into receivership, so we might be out just a titch of money there. So
Okay,
Say
listen,
what's-
Serge, are you still there also? Serge?
I think he left at the beginning. He was saying I think he started it going, and then I don't know if he had to go do something else.
Okay, because I only see the three of us. And he's still recording.
In other words, don't say bad things.
No, I was gonna ask about the level 3 clinics, but I'm gonna ask about that later.
Yeah.
Let's just leave the meeting and, but I'm glad that everything's gone. So the combine's paid for, they just haven't picked it up.
No, it's a special deal because if it's a combine, they put a deposit on it, and then they don't have to pay for it till they pick it up closer to harvest season. It's kind of a big, right? Because it's a big ticket item. So
yeah.
So it's ours still.
I'm hoping they don't have second thoughts.
Well, if they do, then we got the deposit, so that's okay. We'll just sell it again.
Good enough. Okay, well, thanks for listening in.
Yeah, and well, I enjoyed it.
Good. We will chat with you in the future.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Bye.